Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. What is a friend? A single soul, dwelling in two bodies. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Hope is a wakened dream. No great mind has ever existed without a touch of madness. Happiness depends upon ourselves. Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Anybody can become angry. That is easy, but to be angry with the right person and to the right degree and at the right time and for the right purpose and in the right way, that is not within everybody's power, and it's not easy. A friend to all is a friend to none. Wishing to be friends is quick work, but friendship is a slow, ripening fruit. Happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence. Those who educate children well are more to be honored than they who produced them, for these only gave them life. Those the art of living well. Patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. He who has overcome his fears will truly be free. Those who know do, those that understand teach. To perceive is to suffer. The educated differ from the uneducated as much as the living differ from the dead. Whosoever is delighted in solitude is either a wild beast or a god. I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who conquers his enemies, for the hardest victory is over himself. Poverty is the parent of revolution and crime. The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. It is not to win a war. It is more important to organize the peace. The antidote for 50 enemies is one friend. The high-minded man must care more for the truth than for what people think. Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work. One swallow does not make a summer, neither does one fine day. Similarly, a day of brief time of happiness does not make a person entirely happy. To write well, express yourself like common people, but think like a wise man. Learning is not child's play. We cannot learn without pain. Man is by nature a social animal, and an individual who is unsocial naturally and not accidentally is either beneath our notice or more than human. Society is something that precedes the individual. Anyone who cannot lead a common life or is so self-sufficient as not to need to, and therefore does not partake of society, is either a beast or a god. For the things we have to learn before we can do them, we learn by doing them. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The more you know, the more you know you don't know. I have gained this philosophy. I do without being ordered that some are constrained to do that by their fear of law. It is not the same thing to be a good man and a good citizen. The energy of the mind is the essence of life. All human actions have one or more these 7 causes: chance, nature, compulsion, habit, reason, passion, and desire. A wire forever rhymer is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. He who cannot be a good follower cannot be a good leader. Without friends, no one would want to live, even if he had all other goods. Wit is educated insolence. All men by nature desire to know. Dignity does not consist in possessing honors, but in the consciousness that we deserve them. Nature does nothing uselessly. Wise men speak when they have something to say. Fools speak because they have to say something. All paid jobs absorb and degrade the mind, where your talents and the needs of the world cross their lives. Your vocation, misfortune, shows those who are not really friends. Learning is an ornament and prosperity, refuge and adversity, and provision in old age. Happiness is a state of activity. Through discipline comes freedom. All persons ought to endeavor to follow what is right and not what is established. The secret of humor is surprise. Great men are always of a nature originally melancholy. Character may almost be called the most effective means of persuasion. Fear is pain arising from the anticipation of evil. To lead an orchestra, you must turn your back on the crowd. We make war that we may live in peace. The only stable state is the one in which all men are equal before the law. Philosophy can make people sick. In all things of nature, there is something of the marvelous. Friend is a second self. Youth is easily deceived because it is quick to hope. The law is reason, free from passion. Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality but which guarantee of the others. Comedy aims at representing men as worse, tragedy as better than an actual life. The wise man does not expose himself needlessly to dangers, since there are few things for which he cares sufficiently, but he is willing in great crisis to give even his life, knowing that under certain conditions it is not worthwhile to live. He is of a disposition to do men a service, although he is ashamed to have a service done to him. To confer kindness is a mark of superiority. To receive one is a mark of subordination. He does not take part in public displays. He is open in his dislikes and preferences. He talks and acts frankly because of his contempt for men and things. He is never fired with admiration, since there is nothing great in his eyes. He cannot live in complacence with others, except it be a friend. Complacence is the characteristics of a slave. He never feels malice and always forgets and passes over injuries. He is not fond of talking. It is no concern of his that he should be praised or that others should be blamed. He does not speak evil of others, even of his enemies' use, unless it be to themselves. His carriage is sedate, his voice deep, his speech measured. He is not given to hurry, for he is concerned about only a few things. He is not prone to vehemence, for he thinks nothing very important. A shrill voice and hasty steps come to a man who care. He bears the accidents of life with dignity and grace, making the best of his circumstances, like a skillful general who marshals his limited forces with the strategy of war. He is his own best friend and takes delight in privacy, whereas the man of no virtue or ability is his own worst enemy and is afraid of solitude. He is his own best friend and takes delight in privacy, whereas the man of no virtue or ability is his own worst enemy and is afraid of solitude. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. Mothers are fonder than fathers of their children because they are more certain they are their own. Freedom is obedience to self-formulated rules. Anyone who has no need of anybody but himself is either a beast or a god. Rap robe will tron the twisted underground rap robe, the twisted underground rap god. He who is to be a good ruler must have first been ruled. Men acquire a particular quality by constantly acting a particular way. You become just by performing just actions, temperate by performance, temperate actions, brave by performing brave actions. All earthquakes and disasters are warnings. There's too much corruption in the world. Give me a child until he is 7 start, and I will show you the man. Time crumbles things, and everything grows old under the power of time, and is forgotten through the lapse of time. Memory is the scribe of the soul. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. The aim of the wise is not to secure pleasure, but to avoid pain. Poetry is finer and more philosophical than history, for poetry expresses the universal in history and only the particular. It is of the nature of desire not to be satisfied, and most men live only for the gratification of it. Whatever lies within our power to do lies also within our power to not to do. Happiness does not consist in amusement. In fact, it would be strange if our end were amusement, and if we were to labor and suffer hardships all our life long merely to amuse ourselves. A happy life is regarded as a life in conformity with virtue. It is a life which involves effort and is not spent in amusement. The weak are always anxious for justice and equality. The strong pay no heed to either. We must be neither cowardly nor rash, but courageous. A tyrant must put on the appearance of uncommon devotion to religion. Subjects are less apprehensive of legal treatment from a ruler whom they consider God-fearing and pious. On the other hand, they do less easily move against him, believing that he has the gods on his side. I think things do not turn out as we wish. We should wish for them to turn out. For as they turn out, the soul never thinks without a mental picture. Happiness belongs to the self-sufficient. Men create gods after their own image, not only with regard to their own form, but with regard to their mode of life, a plot, a character. Many men create gods after their own image, not only with regard to their own form, but with regard to their mode of life. The virtues are formed in man by his doing the actions. The good of man is a working of the soul in the way of excellence and a complete life. Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies. All who have meditated on the art of governing mankind have been convinced that the fate of empires depend on the education of youth. Bad people are in conflict with themselves. They desire one thing and will another, like the incontinent who choose harmful pleasures instead of what they themselves believe to be good. And with respect to the requirement of art, the probable impossible is always preferable to the improbable possible. But gods are too are fond of a joke. Man is goal-seeking animal. The man is a goal-seeking animal. His life only has meaning if he is reaching out and striving for his goals. Quality is not an act; it is a habit. Democracy arose from men's thinking that if they are equal in any respect, they are equal. Absolutely, moral excellence comes about as a result of habit. We become just by doing just acts, temperate by doing temperate acts, brave by doing brave acts. The pleasures arising from thinking and learning will make us think and learn. The more 11:53:23. A man is by nature a political animal, but self-indulgent. Man craves for all pleasant things and is led by his appetite to choose. These are at the cost of everything else. A friend is a second self, so that our consciousness of a friend's existence make us more fully conscious of our own existence. For man, which perfected, is the best of animals, but when separated from law and justice, he is the worst of all, since armed injustice is the more dangerous, and he is equipped at birth with the arms of intelligence and with moral qualities which he may use for the worst ends. Wherefore, if he have not virtue, he is the most unholy and the most savage of animals, and the most full of lust and gluttony. But justice is the bond of man and states, and the administration of justice, which is the determination of what is just, is the principle of order, political society. If you would understand anything and observe its beginning and its development, the best friend is the man who is wishing me well, wishes it for my own sake as well, to be up before daybreak, for such habits contribute to health, wealth, and wisdom. Young people are in a condition like permanent intoxication because life is sweet and they are growing. The beauty of the soul shines out when a man bears with composure one heavy mischance after another, not because he does not feel them, but because he is a man of high and heroic temper. Yet the truth is the men's ambition and the desire to make money are among the most frequent causes of deliberate acts of injustice. For both we love both the truth and our friends. Piety requires us to honor the truth first, and it hurts. They who love in excess also hate in excess. It is also in the interest of the tyrant to make the subjects poor. The people are so occupied with their daily tasks that they have no time for plot, and happiness is a quality of the soul, not a function of one's material circumstances. We become brave by doing brave acts with the truth, all given facts harmonized, but with what is false truth, it soon hits a wrong note. If it is simplicity that makes the uneducated more effective than the educated when addressing popular audiences, the greatest thing by far is to be a master of metaphor. It is the one thing that cannot be learnt from others, and it is also a sign of genius, since a good metaphor implies an intuitive perception of the similarity and the dissimilar. By forever, genius rapper forever.